they've been shown this. How many times does it take to cause them to make a different decision? I don't think that they ever will. And I really understand this line of thinking. Maybe that's why I spent a good bit drinking, to the extent that I could have died. Yeah, I should have died, but I'm still here, 'cause God don't lie, he'll save the righteous. I know that I'm good, but I had to go through some shit. Yeah, I know that I'm good, but I had to overcome being a narcissist. I think everybody has this fine potential, but if you can do something creative with that part of you, then the devil has no use for you. And I think that's why the devil fucks with mental ills. Yeah, I think that's why the devil tries to make us work for him. Well, he's got most women. It's really sad, all the stuff that women have been subjected to, because they know that we want to submit so bad, and if it won't be to a decent man, it's gonna be to everything else under the sun that's not the slightest bit good for us. I think that a lot of people just don't understand nature. They definitely don't understand their own nature. But of all people to understand our nature, it should be women because of that intuition. But so many of them are hopped up on SSRI medication and they don't even know what the word intuition means. But my intuition had some suspicions on all the stuff that they told me in the institution. And if you think about it, doctors and nurses, they work for an institution. They were trained in an institution. So how could they have intuition? Which is what they're supposed to have if they practice medicine. Anyway, it's not medicine. It's not medicine. It's not medicine. Unless you want to say mediSIN, like you're sinning, taking it, whatever. I'm sure you totally have that disorder that they told you that you have. Even though you didn't figure it out for yourself. Some dude with a fucking clipboard and a ballpoint pen analyzed you in 15 minutes or less, and he told you something that you probably wanted to hear. So you never have to get shit clear. 'Cause as long as things are muddled, you'll always be in psychological trouble. Now luckily I knew what to do with the cannabis plant, but unfortunately the cannabis plant has been spiked to all hell, so courtesy of Israel. So you can't really trust it the way that we used to trust it, because you'll probably go into a state of psychosis and it's really not worth it, so don't bother. But I use that plant to sort of figure things out. Go back in time and re-experience things. I mean, I was already doing that anyway, but it's like when I did that with cannabis, it allowed me to have a different experience and understand why certain experiences happen the way that they did. And that, you know, you can always like just choose to look at it from a different frame of mind, and it can be positive. And like I said, flip it. Just flip that shit, and you'll realize that what felt like the biggest curse could actually be a pretty big-ass blessing. Eventually, you just gotta be patient, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't have, especially in this country. You do not have patience here. And they fucking suffer because of that shit. They suffer because of the choices that they make that indicate that they lack patience, and they make bad decisions, and then they have to blame somebody for that. Now, I get it. I mean, I do think that people are victims of the medical system and the education system and all that. They're victims of their parents' bad decisions. They're victims of the media and all the stuff they've been subjected to. But at the same time, like, they make decisions. I don't know. I wrestle with this shit all the time. I go back and forth. Are they victims? Or are they pieces of shit? Just depends on the day and the way that I feel. And it depends on things I'm thinking about. So if you catch me when I'm what people would call real moody, then you can call me cunt, this label ain't something I'm running from. I like that word anyway. It's a good word. It's a fun word. One of my favorite curse words. Sorry, y'all. But I really don't like being mean-spirited. I really don't like looking at people so negatively. But misanthropy is a huge part of me. I also can't help but notice. I can't help but notice a lot of things. And the stuff I notice gets me in trouble every time I mention it. And like I've aforementioned, Jesus said that a prophet hath no honor in his own country. It's 'cause the sheep don't want to own up to the mistakes that they continue to make and turn a blind eye to. So yeah, I do get angry because that affects everybody, because they're making bad decisions and they're affecting everybody. And like the more that people make bad decisions, it's like it's a fucking ripple effect, dude. And it's like, I saw that with the smartphones. There's no better proof than the Apple Watches. Because, like, people, there were plenty of people that were, like, reluctant to get a smartphone. I still haven't gotten one, in case you didn't know. But you see so many people with those Apple Watches. And when those things came out, I just remember, like, just watching so many people get one. And it's like, yeah, you guys are just fine with being phone addicts. You're fine with being obsessed with the internet. Now you got it attached to you. Literally attached to you. That doesn't creep me out anywhere near as much as these fucking ear cockroach things. It makes me sick that this is the world that I live in, and y'all subjected yourself to it, and now everybody has to be subjected to it because you didn't think it through. They'll never do that. Because thinking things through will never be popular. And you'll never get paid to do that. That's my reluctant sigh. I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed. I tell the aliens every day, because I know they're listening to us. They're lurking. They're lurking. They're out and about. I'm sure if I was on meth, I could see them. But anyway. I tell them all the time, I'm not with these people that y'all call human beings. They don't act like that, do they? If I'm totally isolated, that is fine. That is fine. I don't want to be slightest bit tied to anybody of this time. 'Cause you make me sick. You make me sick. You make me sick. Hashtag you make me sick. I'd gladly go off in a spaceship, not knowing what's gonna happen, because I'm sure that what happens up there will be 1,000 times better than seeing this shit everywhere I fucking go! You made your kids retarded. You made your kids autistic. You turn them into monsters because you are a monster. I should stop right now, right? I'm getting too mad. But no, I do kind of see people as monsters, though. They're negligent. They're negligent. That's like just like putting your toddler in front of a TV, you know? And like smoking crack in the next room. Like that kind of negligence. And I feel like so many people, so many parents, that's where they're at. And so, yeah, they should be shamed for that. And they should be told that their kids are an extension of them, which is fucking monstrous, you know? When I see all these kids acting out because they can't get their tablet or whatever the fuck. It's like, there's a sick part of me that wants them to shut down the fucking internet. They're probably not going to do that. But if they did, that would be such a blessing because, like, a lot of these kids would just kill their parents. And, yeah, their parents were the ones that got them hooked on crack. So it's, like, it's understandable. Because you hear about, like, these parents that are trying to, like, control their kids' smartphone use or their obsession with the internet, and like they're just going crazy. Like I said, you didn't think this one through, okay? And now you're going to be punished because you didn't value your health. And that's why all these people are obese. That's why all these people are on medication. They do not value their fucking health. If the internet exists, and I know that they censor stuff, but it's like if you're an intuitive person, if you care, if you actually care about your health, you're not just going to look up whatever's mainstream. But, you know, I guess if you don't have that inquisitive nature like I do, you're just not going to realize that, you know, you're being lied to by most people, if not all people. So you're not going to, like, want to seek alternative research, you know? Like, it's not even going to cross your mind to do that. So, yeah, that's why I go back and forth between the whole, like, are they victims or are they pieces of shit, you know? Are these people actually monsters, or am I just being fucking mean right now? I'm being so mean. But, I mean, I know a lot of people have said this. So many people on TikTok have said this about the kids growing up right now and how evil they are. Yeah, it's because their parents are on their phones all the time. So, of course, like, why would they care about their children? They care more about their fucking Facebook and their Twitter and TikTok. Like, they care more about that than they do, like, raising their children. And the smartphone is just an extension of the TV. You know, the computers, everything. It's all like the same shit. It contributes to the same degenerate escapism. And like I've stated before, escapism wouldn't be so bad if people knew how to regulate that shit. But that's not possible with that phone, because like people have it on their person all the time. It has constant access to all kinds of brain juice, you know? That's why I call it the neurotransmitter casino. Because, like, you can get so much out of it. Like, if you're lacking attention, validation, if you're bored, like, there's so many ways that you can abuse yourself with that phone. It's insane. It's insane that y'all motherfuckers carry that thing around. And you have no idea that you have this whole fucking... I don't know what to compare it to now. I feel like I could come up with a lot of good metaphors to describe it. But, Satan's toolbox. I think it's Satan's toolbox. So, like, there are all these different tools that the devil is using against people that aren't self-aware, which is most of you. Okay? I'm talking to America, by the way. Anybody that watches my channel, I'm assuming you have self-awareness. But, yeah, it's like, there are just so many ways to destroy yourself. And I guess I just have more of a conscience. Like, how could I not feel like a raging hypocrite if I had one? Even if I used it for good, I'd be going along with their fucking plan. And that shit's wrong, you know? But dude, we just started taking Bitcoin at my job, and my coworker showed me how it worked. And it just freaks me the fuck out, dude. Like, people, like, scanning with their phone, like, paying with a fucking QR code and all that shit. It's just so weird. So weird. I mean, I know we've already had barcodes, credit cards. You know, I got a debit card. I get it. But it's just creepy. It's really creepy. What creeps me out the most is that people are, like, totally fine with their entire life revolving around their phone. And that's pretty frightening, like, how many people have just accepted that. You know? Like, that's horrific to think about. And so if I just seem like I'm really cynical, I mean, I am, but I promise it's for the right reason. I don't think it's okay to go along with stuff that you disagree with. Not just on a personal level, but on, like, a universal level. Like, this isn't just bad for me, it's bad for society. It's not just bad for my mental health, it's bad for everybody's mental health. And if I'm an extremely self-aware person, and I've used somebody else's smartphone, and I was obsessively looking up things like, you know, hypochondriac type things. Conspiratorial things. If I can see how problematic that is, I don't even want to think about the majority of fucking retards already retarded before they decided to get an iPhone. Okay, I don't even want to think about just how much they are retarding themselves every day, all day, because they don't see themselves doing this. And they don't give a shit that this, like, machine inside of a machine is, like, listening to them and paying attention to all the things they're saying so they can sell them shit. It's just turning them into a product. I don't even look at it like it's this ominous thing, like, oh, they're trying to control everybody. I mean, yes, they are doing that, but what's really terrible to me is just how few people seem to mind that privacy invasion. And it's like they don't mind this computer thing knowing so much about them that they don't even know about themselves. I guarantee you, most people who have a smartphone, that algorithm knows them better than they know themselves. They don't know themselves anymore. They don't remember shit anymore. That's why time's being sped up. Now, that happens with technology anyway, just to illustrate that time isn't real, and that it's all, like, our perception. It's all our perception of everything that alters reality, which is why hashtags are so dangerous. That's why the media is so dangerous, because they're literally making things happen by getting people to talk about it over and over and over and over and over again. And so social media, like, everybody on social media is doing I almost said doing the Lord's work. They're doing the devil's work, okay? So, but I don't know, maybe the devil's work is the Lord's work, in a way. Like, because the Lord's letting it happen. The Lord's letting these people expose themselves and prove who they'd rather work for. And I know that they don't know this. They're not conscious enough to recognize that. And that's the problem with a lot of Christians is that, and I'm sure it's true of Muslims as well. I'm sure it's true of plenty of people that claim to be spiritual. They might claim that they believe in God, but they don't believe in him enough to believe in his adversary. And so they don't see his adversary at work. And because of that, they're way too trusting of institutions and medicine and all the stupid bullshit they're taught in school. So, yeah, I do think that God allows this stuff to happen. To prove that, yeah, there are a bunch of false prophets. There are a bunch of people that are making a fuck ton of money, misleading everybody. People that love Donald Trump are in a fucking cult. Okay? People that hate Donald Trump. Well, actually, I don't know if they're in a cult. I think some of them just hate him on principle. But I do know that the left, the identity stuff. Not really anything else, just the identity stuff. Anytime identity gets involved, it's a fucking cult. So we already know with the LGBT, but, you know, the race stuff, the feminist crap, you know, that's definitely a cult. But, you know, I see that on the right with the patriotism. I will never understand people wanting to fight or die for a country that doesn't give a flying fuck about any of its citizens, okay? I will never understand that. As noble as that might seem, it's not, because this country's bad, okay? If you understand what this country does to its own citizens, if you understand what this country does to its most vulnerable, children, elderly, mentally ill people, disabled people, veterans that have fought for this country, that have lost their limbs for this country, you see the way they get treated. So many of them are homeless, okay? I mean, the whole medication problem, like I've said, the SSRI epidemic, that is more of an epidemic than the opioid epidemic. It is easier to get off opioids than it is to get off fucking Lexapro. So, when I hear people say they're proud to be an American, I just fucking puke a little bit in my mouth. Because I get it, though. It's like, it's part of your identity, so you feel like you should be proud. It's like the nationalist thing to do. But I don't know, I guess I'm just too aware to be proud of something. I didn't work for that either, you know? I was just happened to be born here, so. I know I've made this point before. But yeah. My parents chose to fuck here. And they were irresponsible, which is why they gave me up for adoption on Thanksgiving Day. So, yeah. I've had to live with that all my life, if that explains my views on abortion, which are probably the most unconventional views of abortion you'll ever hear. Get this. What if both abortion and having children is not good? I mean, here's the thing. If you're even thinking about having an abortion, but you have kids instead, that's probably not going to be good. Because it's like, you're not prepared for that, right? Why do people want women that don't want to be moms to be forced by the government to be moms? I just think that's fucking stupid. That's really irresponsible, too. Like, what kind of mom do you think she's going to be if the bitch doesn't even know she's pregnant? Anyway, unpopular opinion, I know. I can argue both sides, too, because that's how cool I am.